Good to see you, Tommy P. How are you?
Yeah, Tommy P.
Good to see you, Rich. What's up to my fellas in studio?
Yeah, what up, baby?
Tommy P.
Okay.
I don't know, Tom. I'm a little upset with you.
It's
But
good to see TJ showed up for work today. I did not think that was a given.
No, I know. He was in his own darkness retreat yesterday.
you could have given me a heads up, Tom. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Tom.
There's a lot of people who feel that way.
Tom, why did this happen? I know the Joneses were talking up Kenny Clark, and I know they were talking about stopping the run, but we all know 26-year-old elite first-team All-Pro pass rushers don't get traded for 3-time Pro Bowl 30-year-old defensive tackles straight up for a playing season. I know there's draft compensation, but for the 2025 season, it was essentially a trade of Micah Parsons for Kenny Clark. That just doesn't happen. So why did this happen, Tom?
Let's start with the timeline here, because there seems to be a misconception that, as Jerry Jones said last night, that they got this thing done in 5 minutes. That was not the case, regardless of any rumors or whatever was reported out there. This had been going on for weeks. The Cowboys, once Micah Parsons requested a trade in that lengthy statement back on August 1st, they inevitably started getting calls. And I know of multiple other teams beyond the Packers who made those phone calls. And in the early going, it was difficult to tell whether the Cowboys would seriously consider trading Micah Parsons. The compensation, if they were to do that deal, was pretty clear, which was it would be something in the neighborhood of the Khalil Mack trade back in 2018, which was actually a little bit less than 2 first-round picks, because then there were some swaps and there was a 2 that went back to the Bears in that deal. But basically, it was going to be 2 first-round picks, give or take. That was going to be the price. We now know from Jerry that they eliminated some teams if they did not feel those teams had a defensive tackle that was worth them bringing in as part of the trade. But let's set that aside here.
Okay.
This trade with Green Bay, in terms of the trade compensation, was done 3 days ago. The Packers and Cowboys had agreed. It was going to be 2 first-round picks. It was going to be Kenny Clark. This is the only team. So in order to get to that, Rich, of this is the one team, this was weeks of them surveying the landscape of, hey, what else potentially could we get out there? The last piece of this then became the contract, and that was what was going on over the last 48 to 72 hours. David Mulugeta, who presided over another really unique situation several years ago with Deshaun Watson, also presiding over this one, and knowing that much like in the Watson case, regardless of what was going on in terms of off the field and potential disciplinary considerations, they had a lot of leverage because it was basically free agency. In this case, you had kind of a free agent vibe in terms of what he was able to do, not playing 4 teams off each other like he did with Deshaun Watson, but the reality that it's very rare players who are on one roster truly get to negotiate a contract with a different team, which effectively gave Micah Parsons veto power over that trade. In other words, if the Packers don't pay what the price is, you simply say, I'm all good. I'm not going to go to Green Bay. They're not going to give up 2 first-round picks and their starting nose tackle for a guy going into the last year of a contract. So the Packers went to $47 million per year in terms of the new money on the extension. Even if you consider this a new 5-year, $212 million deal, which it kind of is from a team accounting standpoint, that's still over $42 million per year. That's still the biggest deal ever for a non-quarterback. The fact that Packers were able to make that type of commitment to Micah Parsons goes against so much of how they have operated for decades here. There are countless trades that they have been close to. Randy Moss, Tony Gonzalez. I mean, name all these players over the years where they're in it, and then it came right down to it, and it's, we don't want to do that extra 1 round in the pick. They hadn't been a first-rounder, much less 2 first-rounders, since 1992 when they acquired Brett Favre. The year after that, they signed Reggie White as the first free agent. Those 2 helped usher in this golden age of Packers football that really has remained undisturbed for several decades. But if you look around the rest of the league at what the teams have done that have won Super Bowls, which for all the Packers' success, they have not yet done in the Matt LaFleur era in Green Bay, there's been something bold about what they've done in the trade market. Howie Roseman does it every year. He's in on every trade, and he makes a lot of trades. You had the Rams, of course, who are trading all their picks to bring in guys that could help them right now. The Chiefs have been very aggressive, not just trading for guys, but trading guys away in like the Tyreek Hill trade. And there's a corollary here, Rich, between that trade.
We'll get to that in a second. Appreciate you, Andy. Shout out to you, buddy.
About a Chiefs team that had gone to the AFC Championship game that year, that had won Super Bowls with Tyreek Hill on the roster, but they felt like not just getting what at the time was a first and a third round pick, but freeing up $30 million per year in cash and cap space would allow them to address all these other needs, rebuild the defense, rebuild the offensive line. They did that. They went back and they won 2 more Super Bowls and went to a third last year. For the Cowboys, you heard Jerry Jones talk a little bit about that last night, that, hey, this is not just the 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. This could turn into 5 players. He wasn't talking about trading down in the draft. He's talking about, we got all this extra cash and cap space because we're not paying a pass rusher now $40+ million per year. Yes. And I get the people that sit there and go, well, you use those picks just to try to find the next Micah Parsons. What this was, as much as anything
or Arch Manning
for Dallas, was a referendum that they did not ultimately believe that Micah Parsons was going to be the difference or not to them winning a Super Bowl for the first time in 30 years. They tried to do the deal. Jerry thought they did the deal in April and March. In the end, Micah Parsons said, no, you need to negotiate with that with my agent. They were not willing on the Cowboys standpoint to do that. They never talked with David Mulugeta. They never tried to do a deal. He did confirm, reporting by our James Slater last night, Jerry did, that in the end, they made one last shot. Parsons and Mulugeta came to the Cowboys like, hey, well, we're still willing to sign with you. And the answer a few days ago from the Cowboys was, you're on the 5th-year option, you're under contract, get ready to play next Thursday in Philadelphia. That was basically the end of Micah Parsons as a Cowboy. It just took a few more days for the Packers, financially and otherwise, to finalize Micah Parsons being a Green Bay Packer.
Okay, Tom, you just said a lot there, and I appreciate it.
Wow. Well, hello, good people and Eagle fans. We are sitting here 5 days, 23 hours, and 11 minutes away from kickoff against the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Dallas Cowboys have been owning the media for the wrong reasons all damn summer. Let me first say thank you, everybody, checking in on me, because I literally drank myself till I fell the F out and left the live stream going. And I'm serious. Here's what literally happened. I tell you what was finally the thing that literally turned me over to just passing the F out. I was watching. I had Philly 500, who was actually throwing me softballs. He was actually being nice to me. But I was just like, you guys saw me, dink, right under the camera, shot, dink after shot, dink after shot on an empty stomach. And I haven't been drinking since last off season when the season sucked ass. I got up because I needed to take a leak, and I went up. I said, I'll be right back. And I went and took a leak. That went okay. And then I came back to the table, and I started listening to Jerry Jones. And for those of you out there, let me flip the camera here. Look. Shout out to Miss Tracy. Look at this. Send in the clown. Or we sent in the clown. There we go. Tracy is getting so creative. This is my favorite shirt right here. Jerry Jones the clown. I sat there listening to Jerry, and all of a sudden my head just started spinning. The room started spinning. I said, I might need to go puke. Just in case, I'm going to go into the bathroom. And I got in there. And that floor that we put in at the Red Brick House, boy, that floor looks so good. I said, I'm just going to lay here for a second while the room is spinning. I'm just going to lay here for a second. And then my wife came up there and she said, you got to be shitting me. And she literally took a picture of me. Jerry Jones got me drinking. So we've got the aftermath of Micah Parsons being traded. Shout out to JD 1965, who's vacationing in Arizona. And let me say hello to all the wonderful people. Monique, shout out to Monique, our resident Commander fan. And then we got lovely Linda. Linda, this Tracy got your shirt made this morning. and will be put in the mail, excuse me, tomorrow. There's Lady Libra double dipping. I appreciate. There is. Oh my God. I hate this where I don't actually have people's names anymore. Oh my God. Oh my God. My Delaware friend. I'm having a brain fart. Damn. Why? I think it's the alcohol. Blame it on the alcohol, baby. Okay, and then we got Nico. What's up, Nico? What's going on? You got Alan Williams and Derek Young in the house. Who else we have in the house? Let's see. We got Hey, Dirty Sanchez, Sugar Daddy Williams, 187 Jesus. Let's see. Who am I missing? Derek Young, Ken Please, Sugar Daddy, 47 months. JD, 1965, double dipping. Appreciate you. And we got Roland's Review. What's up, Stacy? How are you doing? Fish Sharky. Curtis is in the house. And I think I got most of the people. We'll see how many haters come in to laugh at us. Hey, everyone's pissed. Let's get this roast section of Cowboys over with. You know what? I've moved on from it. It is what it is. We know Mark left the chair hosting the stream. What was crazy was people kept calling and texting Tracy saying, "Where's Mark? Is Mark okay?" You know, the chair is literally hosting the show. It literally was. The crazy thing is I told her, I said, look, there's a red button that says go live. Push that. And she's screaming, I don't see it. I said, it's on the key, not the regular keyboard. It's on the streaming keyboard. I said, just push that button. That's all you got to do. I don't see it. You got to bring your drunk ass out here. So I got up. I came over and I said, there it is. There it is. I can't. I'm trying. But finally, I ended up ending it. But the crazy thing is there was like 1,000 people still watching the chair. Maybe the chair is more interesting than I am. That's all I can say. So here it is. Micah Parsons is gone. There's no point in crying over spilled milk. What we are getting now, you know, there's always three sides to every disagreement, right? Three sides. There's going to be his side, her side, or if it is between the two of you. And somewhere in the middle is the truth. And we're never going to put ourselves in a bad light. Now, we're hearing things that are, we've had, Mark, you're awesome. Mark, you're awesome, woman, man. Yeah, Tracy is awesome. We're hearing things that are kind of putting pieces together. You know, when you break up with somebody, you got to understand. You got to understand. Tough news, sorry about D-Law. Rog FB 20, shout out to you. Appreciate the super chat. D-Law has been gone. I mean, you mean Micah Parsons. D-Law has been gone for a long time. Palm Folk 6661, thank you for the super chat. Thanks, dope content. Keep your head up. 10 wins can happen. Mr. Jones' press conference sounds like a long infomercial. Yeah, you know, he didn't do himself any. You know, that's where the worst thing you could do was, first of all, you guys show up and it looks like you're at a funeral. And then you're trying to sugarcoat us and try and sell us that it was great. The move wasn't great. And, you know, the more I hear it, I kind of understand the reason behind it was at this point they were looking at it and saying, I think him laying on the table was finally Micah Parsons saying, F you. And Jerry Jones is rich enough to say, you know what? I don't care. We're better off getting him out of here. And I will say, I know people will say that, of course, you're changing up what you're saying. I hate losing a talent like Micah Parsons. I hate it because I got, you know, the assassin pieces in here. It's me, Ginger. Oh, Ginger. Shout out to Ginger. Ginger, where have you been? See, here's, if you don't know what I'm talking about, what happens is, Ginger, welcome back. I hope your Seahawks do well. But what happens is because YouTube is trying to cut down on the trolls and the fake accounts, like, you see the Mark Holmes and he's out here trolling, is they're trying to put your actual call name letters on there. And a lot of people's call names don't necessarily match up to their names. So I'm looking at some of these things. There's North of the Border and Curtis. I've got those, and Alan Williams. But some of them, it's kind of like, I don't know what it is, because it's like the generic YouTube call sign. So welcome back, Ginger. Hope everything's been good for you, girl. Derek Young, all right, I'm relying on you to get me through this year. It might not be as bad as we think. Okay, I'm going to try and take the high road and be positive. What we do know is Malik Hooker, after we lost to Green Bay, kind of came out and said it's kind of hard when you're doing your podcast and we're dealing with that aspect. You know what I mean? That maybe, people are running all over us and you're doing your podcast. We do know that at the beginning of last year, those first 4 games that he played in before he got injured, he had 1 sack, when he was literally, after we got mollywopped by Baltimore, I think he was choking up with Big Play Slay. And that was another one of those bad looks. It's kind of like, bro, that don't look good. We just, you weren't out on the field. You weren't out on the field. We got our teeth kicked in, and you're laughing. You're fraternizing with the enemy. That doesn't seem good. And then there is the money. $47 million. That's a lot of money. And so here's the thing. I can't go through and say, you're stupid for not paying him, because then I'm a hypocrite. Yes. Mark, not your butt on the floor. Oh, yes. Listen, she took the picture. I didn't even know that existed till we were driving up the road, okay? Take Cowboys. Yes, it was that bad last night. It was literally that bad. We're driving up the road to get back home and stuff like that. She said, listen. She looked at me, okay? Now, let me give you. She looked at me and she said, that was some damn college ass shit. I don't want to see you do that shit ever again. You're drunk ass flat out on the floor. I said, come on now. I said, I wasn't drunk on the floor like that, was it? And then she goes, so here's the thing. Sometimes you literally just have to be the butt of the joke. And when you got the clown, we're always the butt of the joke. Okay. Tired of dealing with cryberry pug. Yeah. And see, that is what is being said now. That is what's being said now. Now, before let's step away from Micah Parsons for a minute, because he had, his back is better now that he's had the $180 million massage. He's jumping all over the place. Yeah, he's doing all that stuff. He's healthy. Congratulations. And for you Eagles, I got it straight from one of the bird brains themselves. They're a bit worried right now. But before we do, let's meet our latest Dallas Cowboy.
In Frisco, Kenny, perception versus reality.
Kenny Clark.
I always enjoy asking players what it's like being here when you're not homegrown and drafted and developed by the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean it's like Disneyland up here. Everything is top notch. Everything is top class. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Top coverage too. How closely were you following the Micah Parsons saga? Were you following it as closely as a lot of football fans?
Definitely. I heard like all the rumors and all that kind of stuff, through social media and everything. I was following it definitely.
What did you think when you were included in the saga, and you will be moving forward as we talk about this Micah Parsons trade for years to come?
Yeah, shocked, man. But I'm a part of something special. I'm a part of something special. I'm blessed, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm so excited to be a part of this franchise.
You're a 3-time Pro Bowler, A lot of people have talked about the factor 29, and some of your stats fell off last year. But I was in Brazil when the Packers were playing the Eagles, and you hurt your foot. How was your foot, and were you playing through some of that last year?
Yeah, I was playing through. I had a bunion and bone spurs last year, and hurt it in the Brazil game again. I mean, all that stuff is behind me, and I'm excited to just hit the ground running. I got a lot to prove, this year, and I'm excited to prove that.
The one thing they've got to fix around here is the run game. 179 given up week 17 to the Eagles. Does it help at all that you're going to be lining up with a guy in Osa Odigizua, who you played with his brother at UCLA? Is there familiarity there for you?
Yeah, definitely. I've been knowing Osa since he was a kid, and I mean, just with the run defense, it's going to take all of us. It's going to take all 11. We got to be physical at the point of attack and set edges and close backside, run to the ball, get punch outs and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's going to take all of us doing our job, doing our 111th, and understanding, our gap integrity and all that kind of stuff, and stopping the run.
Last question for you. We've got one kid that's stolen our hearts around here. That's Trayvon Diggs' kid. And it sounds like your daughter might light up the room for us. What was it like for her to meet Jerry, be on the plane? I understand you guys were having ice cream when this broke yesterday.
I went to get her ice cream before I got the call, and she just been smiling ever since. She's been smiling ever since, and I mean, it just shows that was the right move, and I'm just thankful. I'm a part of this franchise. It's a historic franchise. And they're gonna get everything I got. I appreciate it.
Well, tell Jerry that we need to get her a pair of little Lucchese's. I know he's got the hookup. There's a store right across the street. She'll look cute in them.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
there you go.
I'll let her know.
All right, shout out to Andy. Andy says, "What I can't get around my head is Prescott's salary far too much for what he has done." Here's what I'll say. I appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much on that. Here's the thing. I don't know how we go through and we have the things that Jerry Jones does, and then we look around and we say, I don't know why we're not winning because of the quarterback. See, here's the thing, and this all goes full circle because Jerry Jones waits to get these things done. Just think about this hypothetically. Just listen to me for a second. What if the Cowboys, instead of waiting till the season opening day to get Dak Prescott done, actually, as soon as the season ended, worked on getting his deal done before Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love and all of those guys, because Joe Burrow was the top at 55. Maybe he gets Dak Prescott for 54. Maybe he gets it for 55. That's a few dollars just less. What if at that same time he was trying to do CeeDee Lamb, who at the time, it was Tyreek Hill, who was $30 million, was the highest paid. He let everybody, A.J. Brown, Jamar Chase, and all these guys get paid, Justin Jefferson, everybody got paid. So then it's like, okay, now we'll try and pay him. So, you go ahead and you blame Dak for getting paid when you have a guy who kind of tried to screw Micah Parsons' deal over by getting that $40 million. Oh, we're going to pay you $40 million. Well, T.J. Watt got $41 million, and it's only for 3 years. He can go ahead and try and get new money again. And this is after he had gotten his new contract 3 years ago at 28. So I can't exactly put it all on and say Dak, Dak put a gun to his head. Quite frankly, when you look at what the Joneses do, if we're not going to be bringing in people, because when Dak Prescott was dirt cheap, what did he do with the money? Where'd the money go? It didn't go into bringing in anybody to help him win. Now, all of a sudden, Jerry's talking about, well, we have to stop the run. Well, damn it, I've been talking about stopping the run since 2017, when people finally started listening to me about Calais Campbell coming from the Arizona Cardinals. I said, go get a guy like that. We need somebody who is a veteran leader, a veteran presence, who can help stop the run. We don't do that. And as much as people are poo-pooing this guy, you actually have to look at it between him and Osa Odigizua as probably the best defensive lineman duo that we've had since Jason Hatcher and Jay Ratcliffe. And that's been since like 2011 in the last 14 years. And let's be clear here. Let's be clear. Everybody who's now like, how could you? You were before saying, get rid of the guy, he's a bum. And for me, the real McCoy, shout out, Kenny Clark Kent. He's my dog. Jerry also said we can turn those picks into, okay. Well, he can try. If he's going to spend a number one pick, it better be like an A.J. Brown type player. I'm just going to say, you don't take a number one pick and get chopped salad, okay? Well, you might if you're Jerry Jones, because I don't know that they get enough compensation for him. So here's what I'm going to say. And I can't get mad about Micah Parsons being traded because of what I say. I say the Dallas Cowboys' Achilles heel is our roster is always top heavy. And this goes back not just right now. You can go back to Tony Romo, because we had Tony Romo. Tony Romo, great. Tony Romo was good enough to win a Super Bowl on the right team. You had Jason Witten, okay? You had D. Ware. You had Des Bryant, okay? You had Tyron Smith, you had Travis Frederick, and you had Zach Martin, okay? Right? Those 7 guys literally took up about 50% of your cap. So here's the thing. Let's say, I can't remember what the cap was at that time, but let's say it was $140 million or $150 million. Those guys took up $80 million of it, hypothetically. That means everybody else on your roster is averaging about $1.5 million. So when you went from Tyron Smith, if Tyron Smith and, Jason Witten and all those guys are healthy, you got a great team. But once you start taking nicks with Tyron Smith is hurt and you go to Chaz Green, your talent level drops tremendously. When you look at New England, when their heyday, you had, of course, Tom Brady, you had Gronk, but you didn't have all of these superstar, highest paid players in the NFL. They collectively went about 30 deep with players. They had players that play a certain role. You might only play 15 plays, but those 15 plays are strategic and using the skills that you have. And if we lose a player, it's okay because we're not dropping from up here to down here. Like Tom Cruise, with me, without me. With me, without me. Jay Smoove, you're another one. Jay Smoove, your shirt. We finally got the 3X, okay? Now some of these shirts are coming in kind of small. This is a 2X. Either I swelled up last night or the shirts are cut a little smaller. But we got your shirt. It's packaged up, and I'm putting a label on it tomorrow morning, and it's going to the post office, headed for you. And lovely Linda, yours is too. And somebody ordered 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 shirts last night. Miss Tracy got them done. They're going in the mail tomorrow. And my name is Jeff. Your shirt is on the way too. So we got 4 of them that are going out tomorrow. Shout out to everybody that's there. So in a way, it is a change of philosophy. Now, talk is cheap. Talk is cheap. If you follow it up, Walker Wade, Mark, I'm going to be fine. This was a good move. Okay, Walker Wade is happy. Okay, if you're going to go out there and say, all right, first problem we have is, and let's be clear. We suck ass at stopping the run. And there's nothing that you looked at from Mozzie Smith that said, we're going to be better. I'm sorry, Mozzie's mom. I'm sorry. I love you. I love your son and everything else. But right now, we got to do more than what we're doing. If we take last year, let's take last year because last year was abysmal. You had Micah with his 12.5 sacks, which is incredible. Then we dropped down to Goldston with 5 and Carl Lawson with 5, and I think Osa had 4.5. Okay? Lots of pressures from Micah Parsons, lots of sacks. When he went out, you saw how abysmal this pass rush was. Hypothetically, just follow me for a second. If you're Sam Williams, you're probably excited as shit because this gives you a better opportunity to make an impression to get yourself a contract. Remember when we drafted Marshawn Nealon and people said he's the replacement for DeMarcus Lawrence? He flashed last year as a rookie. He had some good games. If he can do what D-Law, and D-Law only had 4 sacks or 3.5 sacks last year. It's better stopping the run. If he can at least do a little more than what D-Law did, okay, that's an improvement. We got Dante Fowler, who only had 1.5 sacks less than Micah Parsons. I'm not expecting him to be 11-sack guy again next year, but if he's 7 or 8, okay? Then we got a young guy with Donovan Easy who can really bend the edge. What if Donovan Easy, a guy who had 15.5 sacks last year, 15.5 sacks last year, can really bend that edge in the NFL? And he comes on as a rookie and gets himself 7, 8, 9 sacks, right? And who am I forgetting? Did I say Sam Williams? Sam Williams is healthy and ready to go. That collectively, you can throw fresh bodies of edge rushers in there. And now, Osa, who really started coming on his own last year at defensive tackle, can rush the passer very, very well. He's a little smallish. And now you've got Clark, be it he's coming off of a down year, it's still, what he did last year is still better than what we've got production-wise since Jay Ratcliffe. I'm being real with you. I'm being real with you. We have been so anemic at nose tackle and stopping the run. You can't look at this. You can look and say Dak Prescott threw a couple interceptions, but you can also look and say you gave up 170 yards to San Francisco on the ground. They're all hand in hand. You got to be good in all phases. And if he can help stop the run, I'm just saying, if he can help stop the run, if he can take on double teams and hold the line, and somebody sent me a message and said, can you explain and do a video about nose tackle? I was like, I'd love to. We finally got one about what they do. Don't look at the stats when it comes to nose tackles, because you're never going to see. Chris, you're starting chemo again next week on Wednesday? Sending prayers to you, my buddy. Kenny Clark is a dog if he only had teammates to help him. Well, that's what I'm hoping for, Kevin, that Kenny helps in the middle of the field. Because here's what I'm going to tell you. Here's what I'm going to tell you. This has always been my philosophy. You get your biggest bang for your buck at nose tackle, at defensive line. And the reason being is this. Understand, I'm so happy to be able to talk about that. See, you got to understand, when you're nose tackle, you get no love, okay? It is literally a thankless job and one of the most difficult ones out there. You know why it is? You get angry. Because, you see, you got the football. Do you know how freaking close that football is to you every single play? Your nose is right here to the football, but you never get to touch it. You never get to touch it. Your helmet is this far away from the next guy. You are closer than anybody else on the line. You have less time before that contact. That center knows when he's hitting that ball and he's launching out at you every time, your head to his head. The biggest bang you get for your buck is if that guy is good, if he can hold the line on a running play and he's taking on a double team, that means your linebacker can play downhill. He's untouched. He can be there upright, and he can look and see where that ball carrier is. He can track him like a heat-seeking missile, and boom. But if the guard gets out and then he's got to try and shed that block, it slows down the momentum. And that's where you get running backs that end up getting more yards after contact. As opposed to me being able to run downhill, I'm actually deflected and off balance trying to make a move and adjust to where you are. Okay. If you have a nose tackle who can just push the pocket 1 yard, and get his big paw up, you're blocking the view of the quarterback, and they get antsy because they think about people going at their knees. Okay? He can't step up in the pocket. If he can't step up in the pocket, then your edge rushers become more effective because he's deeper than if he can step up in the pocket. So instead of them getting washed by, they get more sacks. If he pushes the pocket, that quarterback is going to want to throw quicker, which means those deeper routes aren't there because he doesn't have enough time. And because we have not had that guy in forever, it makes it that much harder for the edge rushers, for the linebackers, and of course the cornerbacks have to hold their guys even longer. So you may look at this and say, this is a dumb move that you gave him away for nothing. Yeah, it would be nice to get more compensation. It would. Green Bay, talking to Philly 500, let me say shout out to Philly 500 because Philly, he ended up calling me today and saying, bro, are you okay? He said, were you really that drunk? And I was like, oh, shit. I was like, bro, I sent him a picture. He's like, oh, my God. He's like, I didn't know you were drinking. You know, he's like, I'm looking at my chat and stuff like that. And next thing, you were just gone. And I'm just like, man, oh, shit, what happened? It's like, man, I said, they finally got to me. I said, Jerry finally got to me, and it was just bad, okay? And there's nothing else I can say about it. Once I started, it was just, I can't stop. It's just, Jerry, screw you. But then getting and talking to him, you know, you see me and Philly on Dance Leo at each other's throats and stuff. But Philly 500 is really a nice guy. And I do want to meet him in person at some point in life. Just not after an Eagles win, preferably after the Cowboys win. That's what I'd really like to see him. But he started saying, he said, I'm actually worried. I said, what are you worried about? He said, you know, Micah Parsons on the Cowboys. He's like, you're fucked up. The Cowboys suck. Yeah, you know, you got Jerry Jones who's always going to make mistakes and stuff. So yeah, Micah's good and all that and stuff, but you know, you just don't have that good a team. He said, but now, if you put Micah Parsons on the Green Bay Packers, which is a team that's kind of been pretty good, then he's like, they can really kind of challenge us. And so now we got something more to worry about. So now Eagle fans are kind of worried about Green Bay as a threat. There's a point to that. Now we play Green Bay week 4. You talk about creating drama. That might be the most watched regular season game after this Eagle Cowboy one. Let's get somebody else's perspective on Mark. Please don't do Nico, trust me. Tracy put a lock on the liquor cabinet. Okay. She's like, no mas, no more. That's it. You're done. All right. Let's see the thoughts of people out there on this one.
In this trade situation, I have not heard one person say this was a great idea, way to go, everybody. So how does this move, or how will it, do you think, define Jerry Jones' post-Super Bowl legacy?
I think this will go down as one of the biggest mistakes in NFL history, and I don't think that's dramatic. Players like Micah Parsons don't get traded. The one that we bring up as the most recent comp was Khalil Mack being moved for a few years ago to Chicago for a couple firsts, and it was a little bit different return. Frankly, they should have gotten more for Parsons because he's younger and better, in my opinion. But that trade, you know, after Mack was moved, the Raiders went downhill, and candidly, I expect the same from Dallas. Micah Parsons is the kind of player you wait an entire generation to draft. He is a future Hall of Famer. He is one of the 2 or 3 best defensive players in all of football. The only case in which I think it would be defensible to trade a player like that is if you don't have a quarterback and you're a rebuilding team and you're going to be bad anyways. But that's not what Dallas was. Nothing about this is logical to me. I have yet to hear a coherent football defense for it. And it just seems like it was a case of hurt feelings that spiraled out of control.
Yeah. It was a case of hurt feelings. And, you know, we don't know. Right now, it looks like shit. But if the Cowboys play, let's say Kenny Clark comes in and helps to slow down the run, and Donovan EZ ends up being the real deal, and then we get Agent Zero back in the middle of the season. Here's what I can say. We are worse edge rushing without Micah Parsons. That's a check. That's a check. It's easy to say that's a check. We may be night and day different, better, though, in the middle of the field. I think we're better than we were last year at linebacker. Our secondary last year was not good. It wasn't good because everybody was injured. I would say at the moment, it's about the same as where we were. So you've got the same as far as secondary goes. You got a little bit worse. Well, you got a lot worse on edge rushing. You got better at linebacker. You got better in the middle of the field. So it may not be the worst defense. At least we got somebody to at least stick in here. If it ended up being all draft picks, it would be basically you got screwed for this season. But at least you got something in a position of need. I don't necessarily agree with trading Micah here, but we don't know everything that went on. The thing that kind of took me aback was, you know, Jerry and Stephen Jones, they're the clown show, they're the idiots and stuff, and they were right there in the moment getting all the blowback. They looked like deer in headlights. Brian Schottenheimer, either he is an incredible poker player and he never lets you see him sweat, or he was legitimate about saying, we all came to the conclusion that this was the best thing to do. And that's where I wonder if that 1 hour meeting that he had with Micah he was the one that was delivering the message that, Micah, here's what we're going to do. We're not negotiating a contract right now. It's going to be, you got a contract right now. You're going to play this season on that, or if that's not good enough, then we can give you the exit papers. And I think that what Jerry was actually trying to do, my mind is probably still hung over from yesterday, but I think what he was trying to do is ultimately look out for his coach's locker room, because it sounds like when you hear people, when you heard Malik Hooker say things, George Pickens will probably go through the same situation with Jerry next year. Not necessarily. This is where I say, I'll come to it. Shout out to you, son of John. I appreciate that super chat. You're in the number 2 position right now. That may be true. Okay, he's got athletes first too, as a agent firm. He doesn't have David Mulligetta that was reported by some people. He's actually got somebody else from athletes first. But it may end up being that you now start the process of Jerry Jones saying, we got to get Tyler Smith done. And then we're going to do Deron Bland. And you still have enough money that if you want to go ahead and do George Pickens, maybe you go through half the season and see, is this guy a real one? And start trying to make a deal there. But it sounds like from the Malik Hooker, who kind of said, dude, your podcast, man, you know, we're getting our ass handed to us and you're not doing podcasts. When you have the whole D-Law situation back and forth, we know that was an issue. We had heard 105.3 The Fan last year saying some of the people in the building are kind of sick of his stick. And we ourselves, I know at the beginning of last year when we were getting mollywopped, holy shit! Oh 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 shit! Ward family, good God. God is good. Shout out to Ward family. Well, let's sit back and watch what happens and the play out. So let's laugh at Jerry in the box. There you go. We can all listen. And here's where I don't want to sit here and just cry for a whole season. I don't. I drank it out of my system yesterday, and I feel better today. Okay? I drank it out of my system yesterday. I felt hungover a bit, but I feel better now. And I just lost my George Pickens. Man, damn it. Let me find it. Damn it. Son of John, but Pickens' agent is from the same agency. Yeah. You're going to have to deal with it the way you deal with it. But this is where I have an answer for you on that one, if I can find it. It's damn Twitter. I had the link up on it. Ah, shit. Fuck. No, I don't want to see you, Micah. Okay, my keyboard's not working. Hold up. Probably need a new battery. Come on. Okay, let's see if we can find this real quick, because it was a great interview with George Pickens. Nope, I guess it's not there. 7 minutes ago. Come on, Jane, where is it? Where is it? Ah, here it is. Okay. Here's your answer to George Pickens.
What did you think of this whole... George, you have a unique point of view on this. You've been part of a trade yourself this year. What did you think of this whole saga?
I feel like it was just, some people got to do the best for their situation, and I feel like from organization and from player, that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Do you feel Micah's the lack of his presence here today? I mean, what's the mood been around here?
Yeah, definitely when you got like a guy that's been here for like 4 or 5 years dominantly, making an impact, you definitely going to feel his presence when he's not here. So I just feel like I said, the best for both parties, especially for him and what he wanted, especially for, kind of what the organization wanted. So, yeah.
What were the cell phones and the group chats looking like last night when this news went down?
I was on the video game, actually. I didn't know until I looked up, I think, early this morning.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. But,
damn.
Best for both parties, I guess.
How good was, for looking at from Micah's lens, how good was it for you to have a change of scenery?
It was good for me, just strictly because when you're somewhere so long and you build a certain label, a certain record, or whether that's good, great, or bad, you kind of want a fresh start, and I feel like that's what a lot of people in life, yeah.
Do you find yourself gravitating over to Kenny, going, "Hey, man, I'm new here too"?
Yeah, definitely. I'm just not. He's brand new, and I'm just new. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're gonna embrace him as well.
Appreciate you so much.
Sure.
There you go. So, the more I see of George Pickens, the more I really and truly like George Pickens. And it seems like from everything we heard about him, and everybody keeps telling me, oh, he's going to implode and he's going to go off and everything else. I don't know. I think he's actually really enjoying being here. And he actually had a great point on that, I needed to change the scenery. I'd been there for a long time. He was doing his thing, and he was flustered. And maybe it just wasn't working, and maybe the fact that some of the things we've seen during this whole negotiation, I have never seen a player. I'm hurting now. This season may be a difficult one for the Cowboys. I don't know that it is. Officially, Coco, shout out to officially Coco. And I agree with you, Crazy Corvette. The new layout sucks because I don't know who everybody necessarily is and things, so forgive me. I don't know that it's going to be much worse than what we thought it was to begin with. Willie Vesser, what happened to my wrench? Willie, because you're on the other channel. You're on Cowboy Joe Boo as opposed to Joe Boo Sports Report. So you're still over on the other channel, have your wrench. Listen, before Micah was traded, I was already saying we're going to need to score like 35 points a game because I don't think our defense is going to be that good because we hadn't addressed stopping the run. We hadn't, right? Didn't we all say our defense is going to suck? I know I did. I said we need to go out and get another cornerback because we don't know where Diggs is going to be. I know I said we need to go out and we need to get legitimate defensive line help, a legitimate nose tackle. I know I said that. I know I said that because we do. Yes, we lost Micah. Yes. But at least we got some help in stopping the run. Because ultimately, if you can't stop the run, you couldn't maximize Micah Parsons. Would I like to have Micah Parsons here? Yes. Yes. Now, if Jerry Jones takes this $41 million that we have right now and starts using, statistically speaking, the Cowboys have the best EPA when Micah plays and the worst in the NFL without. Rookies will have to step up or else. So there you go. Everybody's going to have to step up. JH, appreciate the super chat. Here's what I'm going to do. Shout out everybody. We've gotten a lot of super chats from everybody, and I really, truly appreciate those. I'm just got back here, and I'm kind of screwed up. But what I will do is everybody who super chatted tonight, okay, everybody who super chatted tonight, I'm going to get your name. We're going to start a new hopper with just the names from tonight, and we're going to go ahead tomorrow at 5 o'clock. We'll double up this weekend. We'll do a members call-in show 5 o'clock tomorrow, and we'll do one on Sunday as the last weekend of the off season, or excuse me, before the season start. Son of John's been hitting it tonight. This version of Pickens is what we've been presented with, but until Mulligetta starts to train again. Mulligetta is actually not. Some people thought he was. Athletes First does have him, but it's not David Mulligetta. Jerry, I hope that Dak is in the lights out this year. I'm tired of the Dak haters. I am with you on that one because we get Jerry Jones that we all go through and say, this is the worst trade in the world after the Trey Lance, Jonathan Mingo's, and Joe Milton ones, and now the Micah Parsons. The roadway is littered with crazy trades for the Dallas Cowboys and lack of free agent signings. But we all say it's all Dak's fault. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I assume you're still ahead of the cops. Who's still ahead of the cops? Lamar Jackson doesn't need David Mulligetta. Okay. Crazy, maybe or maybe not, it could be success. Jerry needs to be drug tested. You guys traded your best player. Yeah, we did. Cowboy 214, I'm okay. Dementia is a hell of a drug. Jerry is now Al Davis. I honestly hate to say that, but Jerry Jones is beginning to get to that point where the dementia sets in. No, Mark, you will not. I'm not. Oh, God. Is that why people hate me so much? G8674. Is that why people hate me so much? Because I look at it and say, we need to be a good team all the way around. So we don't have to do like we did to Tony Romo and say, we're either going to win or lose solely on your arm. Dak's contract is a problem. It's not really that much of a problem. I mean, it would be nicer if it wasn't $50 million, but you want to know what's the problem? Take a look. Go to, here, I'll go for you. Let me get it. Let's go to over the cap. Shall we? It's easy to focus on just Dak Prescott's contract, okay? I get you on that, because Dak Prescott is a $50 million hit. Got you on that. But it's hard to say when you're sitting there with $40 million that you're not using. It's hard to say that you're not using the tools available to you. Because, see, the reason that you have the Eagles have so much cap space is they have gone through and said, damn the torpedoes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to kick that money down the road. If we look at our salary cap in 29, we basically have, I think, $40 million on the cap. The Eagles have 290. So clearly they're creative with their accounting and put it out there. But as we go through here, okay, yes, Dak is $50 million. Terrence Steele is $18 million. But what's even funnier or sadder is, let's go down to the bottom here. And in the bottom, let's take a look. Let's take a look at the dead money that's over here, okay? We got almost $9 million that's going to Zach Martin, who's not here, which I don't have a problem with because Zach Martin deserved his money. But take a look at the number 2, Michael Gallup, $8.7 million that we're eating for lunch. Bro, he ain't been on our team for 2 years. He ain't been on our team for 2 years. We're still paying almost $9 million to Michael freaking Gallup. So if you want to talk about Dak Prescott, at least Dak is on the field and playing for us. The last 2 seasons that Michael Gallup was here was less than 900 yards combined. And here it is 2 years later, we're still paying $8.7 million. We got $7.5 million for D-Law. We got $4 million for Brandon Cooks. Okay? We have $32 million in dead money. Micah said he's back in great, yeah, right. Well, you know what? We all knew. Okay, let's be clear. We all knew that Micah Parsons' back was bullshit. That's no different than Jay Ratcliffe, who was injured until he was released by the Cowboys and he signed with the Chicago Bears. It's like, oh, I'm good to go now. Yeah, that we knew it was bullshit. And that's part of the reason why the Cowboys said, you know what? Because Micah was looking for the doctor to say he can't play. He was going to sit here, collect his $1.3 million game checks, and be a distraction. And they just said, you know what? We just got to get him out of here. And in the end, I think that this actually, having Schottenheimer talking to him for an hour and being the go guy with Micah Parsons and getting him and negotiating this, that, and the other, I think is actually, for once, supporting your coach. Instead of it all being handled by Jerry and Stephen Jones, allowing the coach and everything else, and for them to kind of say, we're in agreement that we don't want this distraction. And that's the bottom line on it. So at this point, none of it matters. We can talk till we're blue in the face about, how could he? It doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter. He's gone. And nothing's going to bring him back. We got our 53-man roster, and in 5 days, 22 hours and 20 minutes, we start the season against the Philadelphia Eagles. We got to deal with the people that are here. So the best thing to do is just move the hell on. That's all we can do. So I had my drunk stupor, and now we'll see what we have against the Eagles. I would like to know how the team is responding, but for my man to say, I didn't even know about it until this morning. Okay. He don't seem to be too upset about it. And it seems like from what we're hearing from reports, for some people, they kind of looked at him as kind of a diva and a pain in the ass. So maybe it calms the locker room and it gets them focused in on playing football. Vinny, let's do it. Let's do what? I say let's go out here and shock the world because nobody's giving us a chance. Ward family, looks like you're going to be our winner chicken dinner tonight. Ward, you got to pick out. Tell me what kind of shirt. Do you want the clown shirt? And I know you're a big man. You're kind of tall. I know you're 2X to 3X. And I'm not saying chunky fat like me. You just big from lifting up all them trains and shit. But let me know what shirt that you want to get. And like I said, for tomorrow's, we'll do a members live stream, 5 o'clock. And I will get everybody who did a super chat tonight add you all into the hopper, and we'll do a drawing for one of the plaques that we have in here, maybe Randy White or, that are autographed, or Charles Haley. I got a bunch of different ones. I got tons of them in here. Anybody want a Micah one? Anybody want a Micah? Okay. Oh, shit. Got some Micah shit if anybody wants it. All right, good people. That's all I have for you. And I'm tired after all of the drinking that I did yesterday. I have cried my tears. I have moved the hell on. And as a Cowboy fan, I recognize that we are a dysfunctional organization. And nothing should surprise you. And we've got two choices. We can stay here, be a Dallas Cowboy fan, be them boys, and understand what we got, or we can find another team. That's it. That's all we got. So I wish things were different. Son of John, damn. Son of John just came up from the damn. I tell you what, Son of John and Ward family both win. Son of John, shout out to you with the huge, it's huge, she said, super chat along with Ward family. Both of you guys email me with your address and your shirt size. And if you go to cowboyjoeboo.com, all the shirts and stuff that Miss Tracy has come up with are in there. And if you want something kind of special or a little bit different, let me know, and I can get Miss Tracy to design it for you. As always, I appreciate everybody. Thank you all so much for all the love, the support, and everybody worrying about me being passed the F out. I'm okay. You're okay. We are going to be okay.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.